story is about Amelia, a woman who believed in the life she was building, the promises she shared, and the man she thought was still building it with her. She believed. The late nights were about ambition, about chasing dreams they had built together. But sometimes ambition is just another name we give to secrets. And sometimes the truth does not shout. It whispers quietly from a laptop left open on the kitchen counter. Have you ever trusted someone so completely that you missed the signs that trust was no longer being returned? Have you ever thought you were fighting for the same future only to realize you were standing alone? This is not just a story about betrayal. It is a story about clarity, about the moment when illusions shatter and you are left holding the sharp edges of what you thought was real. Stay with me, because sometimes the end of a love story comes not with screaming or tears, but with the cold glow of a laptop screen and a truth you can no longer look away from. Let's begin. Amelia and Jason had always been busy. Early meetings, missed dinners, weekends, filled with last-minute deadlines. That was the price of ambition. They told themselves, two people chasing big dreams in a city that never slowed down. Amelia believed him. When Jason said he was working late, she believed. When he canceled date nights, she smiled and told him she understood. Because that is what you do when you love someone. You believe, you trust. Even when the silence between you starts to stretch longer than it used to. It happened on an ordinary Thursday. Amelia came home late from a client dinner, kicked off her shoes, tossed her keys onto the counter. And there it was, Jason's laptop screen still lit, a notification blinking quietly in the corner. Curiosity nudged her, not suspicion, not yet, just a soft instinct. She walked over, glanced down, and froze. Hotel booking confirmation. Downtown. 2 nights. Her heart stumbled. Hands trembling. She clicked the email, and the truth spilled out. Not just one reservation, but several different dates, different places, all lining up with the nights. He said he was stuck at the office. And there, buried in the details, a name. Claire Summers. The new girl Jason had mentioned once in passing over a forkful of pasta months ago. Amelia sat down at the kitchen table. Laptop screen glowing too bright. Heart feeling too small. She wanted to scream. She wanted to throw the laptop across the room, but instead, she just sat there breathing, letting the weight of it all settle over her. Understanding, finally, that the late nights were never about deadlines, never about ambition. They were about building a world one secret night at a time, a world that no longer had a place for her. Amelia did not confront Jason that night. She did not wait for him to come home with more lies. Wrapped in tired smiles, she closed the laptop, stood up and stared out at the city lights, realizing that sometimes the deepest heartbreak is not when someone stops loving you, but when you realize they stopped choosing you long before you ever knew it. Some betrayals are not loud. They do not come crashing through your life like a storm. Some betrayals are quiet, hidden in small details, buried inside explanations that almost make sense. Jason did not leave with words. He left with absence, with missed dinners, late nights, phone calls that came later and later, until silence itself became the only truth. Amelia's heartbreak was not about catching him in a lie. It was about realizing that she had been alone for a long time. Sometimes the hardest thing is not losing the person you love. It is losing the version of them that you built in your mind. The one you defended, made excuses for, believed in, long after they had stopped deserving it. We are taught that love means patience, that love means sacrifice. But real love does not ask you to lower your voice to doubt your instincts or to forgive 1,000 small betrayals disguised as misunderstandings. Jason asked for understanding, but what he really wanted was permission to disappear, piece by piece, while Amelia held the door open out of love. And Amelia, she sat there, laptop glowing in the kitchen darkness, and she chose to see, really see, what had been there all along. Healing does not always come from confrontation. Healing sometimes comes in the quiet moment when you finally stop arguing with reality. Amelia's strength was not in fighting for someone who had already left. Her strength was in choosing herself, in choosing to walk away with her dignity, her future, and her heart still her own. Now let us hear from the Reddit community, because sometimes the reflections of others help us see our own strength even in the moments we thought we had. Had none left, so Trust Broken wrote, "The worst part is not the betrayal. It is realizing how long you defended someone who stopped defending you." 9,8K likes. This comment captures Amelia's journey perfectly. It is not just about losing someone. It is about realizing how deeply you believed in them, even when they gave up believing in you. Invisible Endings wrote, "Sometimes the relationship ends long before the breakup happens. You just do not see it until the silence gets too loud." 2K likes. So true. Amelia was not blindsided. She was worn down by nights alone, by smiles that stopped reaching the eyes until the truth finally became undeniable. Healing softly wrote, "Healing is not about erasing what happened. It is about remembering who you are without the lies." 4K likes. Beautifully said. Healing does not mean pretending the betrayal never happened. It means rebuilding yourself stronger, clearer, without the weight of someone else's choices. Chino More Secrets wrote, "Trust is not broken by mistakes. It is broken by patterns repeated and hidden until the truth can no longer be ignored." 9,6K likes. This comment speaks volumes. One lie, one misdeed dinner can be forgiven, but patterns of secrecy and silence, they build walls that no love can climb over. How to light through. Cracks wrote, "When the truth hurts more than the lie you were told, it means you were loving harder than they were being honest." 10 likes. This comment hits deeply. Amelia loved fully, openly. And sometimes the deeper the love, the deeper the cut, when honesty is missing. Reading these comments reminds us that heartbreak does not define us. It refines us. It teaches us not how to love less, but how to love wiser. Have you ever discovered a truth that hurt more than the lie you believed? Share your story in the comments. Your voice deserves to be heard here. I ran into my ex, and he was finally everything I had hoped for. Reddit, love story time. Welcome back to the channel. Some heartbreaks do not shatter you. They do not come screaming through the door. Some heartbreaks are soft. They unfold slowly in small moments of realization. Tonight's story is about Sophie, a woman who loved bravely, hoped fiercely, and believed that time and patience would turn promises into forever. But sometimes the people we love are not ready to become who we need them to be. And sometimes by the time they finally grow into their best selves, they are no longer growing for us. Have you ever loved someone not for who they were, but for who you believed they could become? Have you ever realized that the version of them you waited for finally arrived just too late? This is not a story about anger. It is a story about timing, about growth, and about the quiet strength it takes to let go of a dream even when it stands right in front of you, smiling with someone else. Stay with me, because sometimes the hardest love stories are the ones that never got the chance to be written. Let's begin. Sophie and Mark had the kind of love that felt inevitable, like two people thrown together by something bigger than timing, bigger than logic. They met in college, built dreams in tiny apartments, sketched out futures on napkins in coffee shops. Sophie loved his laughter, his big dreams, his reckless belief that everything would work out somehow. But love, as she would learn, is not just about dreaming together. It is about showing up every day, even when the dreaming gets hard. Mark was always almost there, almost remembering anniversaries, almost showing up on time, almost choosing her first. Sophie waited, forgave, believed that one day he would catch up to the kind of love she was giving so easily. But time and patience could not grow him into the man he was not yet ready to be. They broke up on a rainy Wednesday afternoon. No screaming, no accusations, just two tired people sitting across from each other, finally realizing that sometimes love is not enough to make someone stay. Years went by. Sophie learned to stop checking his social media, stopped wondering if he remembered her birthday. She filled her life with new memories, new people, until that afternoon in the coffee shop, standing in line, flipping through her phone, she heard it. A laugh, familiar, undeniable. She turned, and there he was, Mark. Older, softer, different. Beside him, a woman with bright eyes and a hand resting easily in his. They talked small and careful. Sophie smiled, nodded, listened as Mark told her about his life, now his new career, his travels, his volunteer work at a local shelter, all the things she used to dream he would want, all the things she used to wish he would become. And standing there in the soft light of a coffee shop, she used to love. Sophie realized that the man she had waited for had finally arrived, just not for her. They said goodbye. A wave, a smile, a future they would never share. Sophie walked outside, the sun warm on her face, and she let herself feel it, the sadness, the gratitude, the quiet acceptance that sometimes the people we love become everything we hoped they would, just after we have learned how to live without them. Some heartbreaks do not come from losing someone. They come from realizing that the timing was never right. Sophie's story is not a story of anger or betrayal. It is a story about growth, about learning that love, no matter how deep, cannot always make two people ready. At the same time, Mark did not become a better man because Sophie left. He became a better man because life taught him, because somewhere along the way the pieces finally fit, the lessons finally sank in. But sometimes the lessons we help teach are not the ones we get to enjoy. We often believe that if we love someone enough, if we wait long enough, they will become who we hoped they could be. But real love, healthy love, is not about potential. It is about presence. Sophie loved Mark not for who he was, but for who he could become, and that is a lonely place to love. From growth is beautiful, but it is also bittersweet, because sometimes the person who grows is no longer growing towards you. Healing is not just about letting go of the person. It is about letting go of the future. The imagined birthdays, the holidays, the tiny, ordinary moments you thought you would share. Sophie's quiet acceptance standing in that coffee shop was a testament to something powerful, loving someone, letting them go, and still wishing them well. That is the hardest kind of love, and also the strongest. Now let us hear the thoughts from the Reddit community, because sometimes in the voices of strangers, we find reflections of the quiet heartbreaks we thought no one else could understand. You're growing. Without he wrote, The saddest kind of closure is realizing they became everything you hoped for just after you stopped waiting. 7K likes. This comment captures Sophie's journey perfectly. It is not about bitterness, it is about the bittersweet ache of realizing growth came just too late for you. Timing. Is everything wrote, love is not always about effort. Sometimes it is just about timing, and sometimes the right person at the wrong time is still the wrong person. 1K likes, so true. Sophie's story reminds us that even the deepest love cannot always bridge the distance created by timing that does not align. Or not. All Love Stays wrote, some people teach you love, some people teach you goodbye, and some people unknowingly teach you both. 9K likes. Beautifully said, Sophie's love was real, her goodbye was real, and sometimes the people we love most leave behind the most important lessons. Futures that never were wrote. Letting go is not always about anger. Sometimes it is about gratitude for what was and acceptance of what will never be. 4K likes. This comment speaks so softly but so powerfully. Healing does not mean forgetting. It means honoring the love and still choosing to move forward without carrying the weight of what could have been. Smiling. At the end wrote, the truest strength is standing in front of a future you once dreamed of and smiling anyway. 9K likes. This feels like Sophie's final gift to herself. To smile even when it hurts. To wish well, even when her heart remembers differently. That is true courage. Reading these comments reminds us that growth is not just about what we gain. Sometimes it is about what we are brave enough to let go of. Have you ever faced a goodbye that was harder because of how much you had once believed in the future? Share your story in the comments. Your voice matters here. I was his backup plan until he found the one he truly wanted. Reddit. Love story time. Welcome back to the channel. Some heartbreaks do not come from being left behind. They come from realizing you were never truly chosen to begin with. Tonight's story is about Emma, a woman who gave her heart patiently, quietly, believing that time and tenderness could turn uncertainty into forever. But sometimes, love is not about waiting for someone to be ready. Sometimes love is about recognizing that you deserve to be someone's first choice, not their backup plan. Have you ever stayed hoping that if you were just softer, just more patient, just more understanding, they would finally see you the way you already saw them? Have you ever realized you were just holding the space until someone else walked into their life, and suddenly everything they said they were not ready for, they were ready to give away to someone that was not you? This is not a story about anger. It is a story about clarity, about the moment you realize that being almost loved is not the same as being chosen. Stay with me, because sometimes the saddest goodbyes are the ones you never saw. Let's begin. Emma and Liam were not the perfect couple, but they were something close to real. They found each other during a season when neither of them had all the answers, when broken hearts still whispered too loudly, in quiet moments when the future felt blurry, uncertain. From the beginning, Liam was honest, or at least as honest as he knew how to be. I am not ready for anything serious, he said. I am still figuring myself out. Emma smiled, tucked the ache deep into her chest, and told him that was fine, that she could wait. They shared late-night talks, take-out dinners eaten on the floor, moments of laughter so easy it almost felt like love. But love needs more than comfort. It needs commitment. It needs choice. And Liam, for all his kindness, for all his almost love, never quite chose her. Emma waited, through cancelled plans, through half-hearted promises, through the quiet spaces where she felt herself slipping into something smaller, just to stay close to him. And then one night, over lukewarm coffee at their favorite diner, Liam looked at her differently, a little sad, a little sorry. "I met someone," he said. "It just feels easy. It feels right." Emma sat there blinking back the sting behind her eyes, smiling because she did not know what else to do. And in that moment, she realized she had never been the one. She had only been the in-between, the bridge between who he was and who he was finally ready to become. She walked home that night, past the shops that were closing, past the strangers laughing on sidewalks, past all the dreams she had carefully built in her heart, and she promised herself that next time she would not be she would not be the waiting room. She would be the destination or nothing at all. Some heartbreaks do not come from betrayal. They come from the slow, quiet realization that you were never truly chosen. Emma's pain was not in losing Liam. It was in understanding that she had loved fully patiently while he had only half-heartedly held space for her. We talk a lot about unconditional love, about staying through the hard times, waiting out the storms. But love, real love, is not about waiting for someone to finally want you. It is about being seen, being chosen, not as an afterthought, not as a safe option, but as a true and deliberate choice. Liam did not choose Emma. He kept her close enough to stay warm, but far enough to leave room for someone else. And when that someone else appeared, when it finally felt easy and right, Emma became the memory, almost the what could have been. Healing for Emma will not come from trying to understand why it was not her. It will come from realizing that being almost loved is a slow kind of abandonment. It will come from forgiving herself for holding on too long, for hoping too much, for believing that patience alone could build a future. True love does not make you wait endlessly. It does not make you question your place. True love walks towards you, not away. And Emma, one quiet night at a time, will learn that the kind of love she deserves will never ask her to be second best. Now, let us hear the voices of the Reddit community, because sometimes the lessons hidden in someone else's story are the ones our own hearts needed most to hear. Almost, but not quite wrote, "The hardest heartbreaks are not the ones that end in anger. They are the ones that end in understanding." 5K likes. This comment feels like it was written for Emma. It is not fury that breaks your heart. It is the quiet moment when you finally understand why you were never fully chosen. Not. The Destination wrote, "You cannot heal by convincing yourself you were enough for someone who only saw you as a resting place." 1K likes, so true. Healing does not come from fighting for a spot in someone's life. It comes from realizing that you deserve to be the destination, not a stop along the way. Who right person, wrong heart wrote, "You can be everything someone says they want and still not be what they choose." 7K likes. This comment touches the deepest part of the story, because sometimes being enough and being chosen are two very different things. Lessons. Overlove wrote, "Some people are not meant to love you forever. They are meant to teach you how you deserve to be loved." 8K likes. This is such a beautiful truth. Emma's story reminds us that even painful loves leave behind the seeds of stronger, wiser futures. Waiting room. No More wrote, "Never again be someone's maybe while waiting for them to find their always." Likes. Powerful and honest. Emma deserves more. We all deserve more than being someone's maybe. when what we are looking for is someone's always. Reading these comments reminds us that